My name is Scott Leroy. I work in student community engagement, which is a part of campus life. And one of my roles is to support Engage UNCW or the GivePulse platform here on campus. In this video, I'm going to explain how to log and share your volunteer service experience using the Engage UNCW or GivePulse platform. Chances are, if you're watching this, you're in a course where some form of community engagement is required, and you've been asked to use GivePulse to verify your participation. I'm going to walk you through how you can do this. So you've participated in a volunteer opportunity and you need to share it with your instructor. How to use Engage UNCW or GivePulse to do that? The first thing you need to do is log in. And you always, if you navigate to uncw.givepulse.com/login, the rest of this is kind of superfluous. You should arrive at this screen and never type in your credentials here. Just either click on the login via UNCW if it's available, or if it's not, click on single sign-on, type in UNCW, choose University of North Carolina, Wilmington, and log in. And you'll arrive at a screen that looks something like this. I'm going to show you how to adjust your settings, which is very important for sharing your experience with your instructor. So if you go up to this little drop-down menu up here, you'll see account is one of the options. You're going to click on that. And then over here in the left-hand nav, you'll see settings. And what you want to do is just make sure that this private checkbox is unchecked. I coached students to do this in another tutorial, so yours may be off already, but if it's not, again, make sure it's unchecked and click Save Changes. This is really important because your instructor has asked you to share your experience with them, but if your profile is set to private, it makes it more difficult to share your experiences with others. Okay, so with that out of the way, I want to show you how to share your experience with your instructor. And let's start with the definition. GivePulse calls your completed volunteer service experience an impact. So you need to figure out how to use this platform to share your impact. And you can find all of your existing impacts by clicking on this My Activity menu option and then Impacts. Okay, and here listed, you'll see any completed volunteer service activity that is registered in GivePulse. Now, in another video, I walk students through how to go about finding a volunteer opportunity and registering for a volunteer opportunity. And I mentioned that, for your course, you may not have to find the volunteer opportunity through GivePulse, which is totally fine. But if you participated in a volunteer opportunity through your church or through a student group or some other way, it won't appear here, obviously, because it hasn't been logged in GivePulse yet. But I'm going to show you in just a minute how you can do that. Before we get into that, though, I want to talk about how you verify and share your impacts for events that were where you did use GivePulse to register. Okay, and there are a few different scenarios here. I'm going to go through 3 different scenarios. Hopefully, this doesn't get too complicated, but it should help you figure out the scenario relevant to you for verifying and then sharing your impact with your instructor. Okay, so the first scenario is you participated in an opportunity you registered in GivePulse, and an event administrator signed you in during the event. And if this is the case, you'll see something like this. The event will be in here and it'll say verified. You also will have received an email that looked like this. Thank you for attending, whatever the event is called. Your impact has been verified, and it's going to ask you to click confirm to fill out your engagement details. So you want to click on that. And essentially, you just need to follow these steps. And we'll get to these steps in just a minute. But I want to mention scenario 2. And this is when you have registered for the volunteer service event in GivePulse, but no one checked you in. You attended the event, you were there, but there was no event administrator checking people in. And if that is the case, you are likely to see something like this, 1 hour or whatever the event details, and then something like pending. You also will have received an email that looked like this. Did you attend the event? And then you have the option to indicate that yes, you attended, or no, you did not. So if this is your scenario, go ahead and click on yes, I attended, and follow the steps. So whether you were marked as attended during the event or not, the steps here are essentially the same. The difference is really that if you were marked as attended, your impact is already verified. And if you were not marked as attended, the person listed as the verifier of the event will have to verify you. So this is what this looks like in essentially either scenario, right? It has the event details or the impact details, right? When it happened, when it started, when it ended, the duration, and then the verification, the name and email of the verifier, right? So this likely, if it was an event where where your attendance was marked, this is likely the person that indicated you were there. And if it was an event where your attendance wasn't taken, this is likely the person that set up the event. So they'll be well positioned to verify that you were there. Now, this is a important point here. If you attend an event and no one checks you in, make sure you get the name and email of someone who can verify that you were there. Because you can always edit this and say, well, Isabel wasn't there, but Scott was, then put my name in and my email. And then since I was there and I saw you there, I can verify that you were there. But look over these details, make sure they're correct. Click next. On this page, you'll leave this share courses section blank. Even if this is for a course, GivePulse right now isn't really set up to link your impacts with your course. But you can and should have University of North Carolina, Wilmington in this section. And what this does is basically it puts your event into our network if it's not already there. And then your instructor is also part of our network. It'll just help make sure that they can see your event when you share it. So once that is complete, hit next. And then you'll have these text boxes, and you'll have to kind of defer to your instructor here. They will prompt you to add a reflection. They might prompt you to upload a photo of you at the event. They might ask you to rate your experience. Just follow their instructions. Just know that this will be viewable to your instructor. Whatever you upload will be viewable to your instructor. The personal notes will not. This is something totally private. So if this is something you choose to use, maybe you want to make note of someone you met or some aspect of the experience you want to remember, feel free to use this space, but it's not required. And then you can rate the experience. And you'll see that this part is grayed out. If this were not grayed out and you could change the options, um, you'll want to make sure it's set to no. Again, this is if it's set to private, it might make it harder for your instructor to see the impact. But a lot of times they will be grayed out, and this has to do with how the event is set up. But again, going back to this setting, if it says University of North Carolina, Wilmington here, it means it's in our network. Your instructor is in our network, and so they should be able to see it, whether or not this says yes or no. Okay, and when you've completed all of this per the instructions of your instructor, update impact. And you'll see that this still says pending verification, right? So this was the event that I wasn't verified for, but the system has now sent an email to the person listed as the verifier, and they're prompted to go back into the system and just check a box that says, was so-and-so here, click here, and then once they do that, your status here will change from pending to verified. Okay, so that kind of covers the scenario where your event was in GivePulse. Either you were marked as attended or not, but either way, you've gone back into GivePulse to verify um, the event. I want to quickly talk about what you do if the volunteer service opportunity you participated in was not in GivePulse. So it's not an event you found in GivePulse, but you can still use the GivePulse platform to log your impact and share it with your instructor. And I'm going to show you how to do that now. So again, you just go to this activities tab, you click on impacts, you get this dashboard, and then click on add impact. It's going to try to prompt you, or it might prompt you to identify an existing event to make sure it wasn't something that was in GivePulse, but just click on none of these. Um, It'll ask you to name the organization. I'm going to suggest that you ignore this and just click on can't find the group, create a write-in impact. And then put in the details, right? So I'm going to just use, let's say that for this assignment, I volunteered at my food bank back home. You put in the name of that organization. I'm just as a placeholder putting food bank back home. You'll have to punch in the address. You'll have to manually add when the event was. Let's say it was last Sunday, when it started, when it ended. It will calculate the duration. And then you're going to have to add a verifier, right? So if you participate in an event that's not in GivePulse, make sure you have the name and email address of someone at that organization who can verify that you were there. This isn't like your buddy that you volunteered with. This is someone from the organization that can verify that you were there. Okay. So you type that in here. I think the phone is optional. Click next. Again, similar to the other scenarios I went through, make sure this is blank, share courses, and then make sure University of North Carolina, Wilmington is shared under shared groups. And then again, you have this field where you can share your reflection. I had a great time. I learned a lot. You can upload your photo, optional to add personal notes, rate your experience. And then here you see I have the option to make this private or not. And again, I'm going to just make sure this is set to no if I have that option. I'm going to go ahead and add that impact, and it's going to be pending verification until my verifier verifies it, right? And then it will change from pending verification to verified in this in my list of impacts, right? Okay, so once impacts are added and verified, you'll have to share them with your instructor. This is the last thing we're going to talk about in this tutorial. How you go about this will depend a lot on what's in the assignment. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways, but it's really up to you to review the syllabus or the assignment in Canvas to figure out how your instructor would like you to share the impact. One way is to download a certificate of engagement that you can share with your instructors. So again, you'll log into GivePulse, you'll navigate to this activity tab, you'll go down to impacts, and you'll see you have this download option, right? So let's say this is the event I want to share. Um, it's been verified. I'm going to click on download. And then I'll see in my downloads, I've got this certificate of engagement. And I can upload this to Canvas. I can share it via email, however my instructor has asked me to share it, right? But this doesn't have all the details. Like there's no photo here. It doesn't have your reflection here. So your instructor may ask you to share this a different way. They may ask you to just share the URL to the impact itself, right? So let me find a different example um, where, okay, well, let's say that this is the impact I want to share. I can simply copy the URL and then put it in an email or paste it into a text field in a Canvas assignment and share with my instructor that way. And if they are logged in and the impact was um, set up correctly, they should be able to just click on that URL and then view the impact just as it appears here. And if there were a photo that were attached, that's what I was looking for, a better example. Um, I have lots of test events in here, but um, yeah, so your reflection would appear here, and then there would be a link to click on the photo, which I just don't have an example of a photo here. Um, but anyway, it's that simple. So again, you're going to want to ask your instructor how they want to see it, or you'll look at the instructions in the syllabus or in Canvas, and then just follow those instructions. There are lots of different ways to share your verified impacts with your instructor. I'll show you one more, and then we'll wrap this up. You can click on Impact Summary, and you can use these filters if you want, but you can download the impact summary and it'll list all of your impacts here. So particularly if you're taking a course where you're asked to do multiple, take part in multiple volunteer experiences, this is a pretty streamlined way of sharing those. Although again, it wouldn't include the reflections or the photos. So um, make sure you're following the instructions that your um, professor has provided. Okay, so quick recap here. Or even before we recap, let me mention a couple troubleshooting options. Um, there is a impact verification and sharing document that we've shared with your instructor. Um, it kind of goes through what was explored in this video. So if you don't have access to that for whatever reason, um, I don't have it pulled up here. But if you don't have access to that for whatever reason, oh, here it is. It looks like this. There's lots of screen grabs and arrows and explanations. It's kind of a step-by-step. So if you don't have access to that, maybe check your Canvas, uh, your course shelf in Canvas, or you can email serve@uncw.edu and we can get you a copy of that. Um, there's also another video in this YouTube channel, Troubleshooting Impact Sharing and GivePulse. So that is more about troubleshooting issues that tend to come up. You can check that video out. There's also the GivePulse knowledge base. That's just support.givepulse.com. And you could pose questions here or go through their kind of FAQs um, or their knowledge base. And then, like, if you run into difficulty or have any questions about adding impacts or downloading certificates or sharing them with your instructor, email serve@uncw.edu. We're very, very happy to walk you through this process and help troubleshoot. So that's SERVE at uncw.edu. We're happy to help troubleshoot in any way that we can. I would say this, if your question has to do with the nature of the assignment or deadlines, any of those kinds of things, talk to your instructor. But if it has to do with the platform and how it functions, reach out to us and we'll get you sorted out. Just please don't wait till the last minute, right? I know if you have a deadline that's at 5 o'clock today, and you email me at noon, you may or may not get a response in time to get your assignment in on time. So try to allow a day or two for a response, but we will try to work with you to help troubleshoot anything that comes up. Okay, so now that recap, you'll have to make sure your volunteer service experience or impact is logged and verified in the GivePulse platform. What this looks like exactly will depend a little on whether the event was found in GivePulse to begin with, or whether it was an outside event that you are adding. Either way, it's got to be verified before you can share it. Once verified, review the assignment to determine the best way to share your impact with your instructor. You may download or share the certificate of engagement, or you might be better off just sharing a hyperlink to the impact itself. And remember, reach out to us, serve@uncw.edu if you run into any difficulty. I will leave it there. Thanks so much for your attention. Best of luck with your service work this semester and with getting it logged and shared with your instructor. Let us know how we can help.